To get us started, the CoLab portfolio, where we focus in on the circular economy, has been incredibly important for our circular economy innovation work to really conceive of venture ideas that can create and capture value by doing these things, which is really at the heart of the kind of the design principles at the heart of the circular economy. So keeping products and materials in use as long as we possibly can in their highest possible form of use, and designing out waste and pollution. And it kind of in bringing those two things together, being able to drive an economic system that regenerates natural, social, and business systems. The point is in a connected way. We clearly have a lot of opportunity in the sense that there's a lot of waste to work with. So you know we've got a, in that sense it's a wonderful opportunity. But clearly waste is at epidemic proportions within the economic system. So whilst it may keep us employed, it's not ideal. So I think the point is that clearly we need to drive innovation at a systems level, a systemic level innovation to tackle this. And to do that, we have to really understand the context. And so Lauren and I are going to tag team a bit. So over to Lauren.
We sort of thought it was helpful to understand a little bit more about how we got here in the first place. And some of it goes back as far as 10,000 BC. The agricultural revolution. And we started looking at revolutions because revolutions are, by definition, moments in time when there is a societal shift, and it usually happens very quickly, and it is very momentous, and it represents a legitimate changing tide that impacts everybody. And if you think about the agricultural revolution specifically, suddenly we had this moment where we were shifting from a hunter-gatherer society to wanting to have control over our environment, to be able to actually harness nature so that we could be more productive and more abundant, stay in one place. It affected yields of cotton, it affected yields of wheat. Our portfolios became sort of right from the beginning, real opportunity areas, but it really changed our relationship with place and with natural resources. And if you leap forward centuries to the next big revolution, the Industrial Revolution, this was even more the case. Suddenly we are really designing for mass, abundance. The whole idea of prosperity totally evolved, and now we have the ability to produce clothing, to produce food, to produce just about anything else and use all those natural resources at a scale that was prior to this just unimaginable. And the impact of that on our society was significant, but also on the consumption of our natural resources. And really, despite them, sort of moving forward prosperity and abundance at all costs. And then arguably the more recent revolution around information and technology, which has been profound in connecting our societies, in enabling us to really push our capabilities to another level, but continues to exacerbate this separation from our natural resources. And now we have food that on average is traveling 2,000 miles to our plate. We have clothing that is being shipped around the world to be on our backs. And again, these sort of revolutionary tides are progressing from one perspective, but at a tremendous cost that really is no longer viable. So arguably what this is leading to is the next revolution that seems to be right upon us right now, which is what we're calling a circular revolution, or the opportunity for a circular economy, where we see these sort of technical cycles and biological cycles starting to come together and really create an opportunity for what was advances in agriculture and industry and in information to start to merge, maybe for the first time in a long time, with the natural systems that sustain us, so that we can really come to a next level of opportunity.
Thanks. And so clearly it's a really exciting mindset for innovation, and when we start to bring together the opportunities that our digital information age, the emerging tech age offers us to drive forward a more regenerative economy, we get some pretty exciting innovation spaces and ways that we can create value. So shifting from product to service, as we perhaps conceive of ways in which we can have the service of something rather than needing to have the ownership of something. Shifting from thinking about the temporary value of something within a linear model to thinking about the enduring potential of something, the enduring value of something, and designing for that, designing systems that can deliver that. Rethinking waste fundamentally as a resource, and moving beyond kind of a siloed way of thinking to a more collaborative perspective in which we can build, I guess, wholes greater than the sum of the parts, because we're creating shared value and systems that are ultimately more resilient and productive because they build shared value. So we spent 3 years working really hard trying to figure out some key areas where we can help, figuring out essentially where to invest and how to implement in this exciting but kind of vast and kind of new emerging area. And so really thinking about what will underpin this significant shift in the economy. And one of our big realizations has been the huge lack of some key areas of infrastructure that are going to really allow us to move in a more circular direction. And essentially that comes down to this layer of intelligence and connectivity we need within the economy to deliver circular business models that we don't really have at scale at the moment. And so we're excited to think about how we can enable that with our partners and therefore realize the economic opportunity that the circular economy offers. And I think what's exciting about this layer, is it really offers value today and allows us to work at different horizons and allows us to build towards a circular economy enabled by this infrastructure. So just to kind of highlight 3 opportunity areas we see as really exciting areas for design is one, systems that better balance supply and demand, reimagining packaging and delivery systems and enabling digital inventory tracking and traceability. So, 2 examples from food.
Yeah, just a couple quick stories around this. So in balancing supply and demand, through one of our prototypes out of the last Circular Economy of Food Sprint, we looked at, as an inspiration, the Sir Kensington vegan mayonnaise that some of you might be familiar with. When that mayonnaise was created, they had this sort of moment of, okay, how do we figure out a substitute for eggs? And ultimately did some research and figured out that the byproduct from making hummus, aquafaba, could actually be used in alternative to eggs. And so suddenly this thing that had been a waste product in making hummus became an input, became something that had value. But it took the information, it took learning about and doing the research and ultimately having that to foster that culinary creativity and to create what was a waste into a resource. So one of the things we really learned is that we need information. We need a database of the characteristics of food so that what might be waste now becomes an input. And this is true across sectors, but really was uncovered for us in thinking about food. Another was thinking about how we could start having reusable packaging materials. We all recognize that we have so much waste in packaging, especially in food delivery. And the challenge is the sanitation around packaging, it's the space in retail. And what we really realized is the opportunity to create a decentralized hub that could collect these containers and clean it was the unlock for many different retailers to be able to participate in a circular economy. So again, it was the infrastructure that became the opportunity that could unlock a whole world of a different management of resources.
Cool. And then finally, from the textile and apparel space, we've done a lot of work thinking about how to create new services that allow users to maybe better monetize the locked-in value in their wardrobes, better maintain their clothing, for example, shift to maybe service models that allow them more choice without having to necessarily own. And really what underpins that is the need for a kind of digital wardrobe infrastructure, digital inventory and identity that works at a multi-brand level, like our current kind of real world, physical world wardrobes. And so we're really excited about the design questions that underpin this, finding areas for pre-competitive collaboration to build this new infrastructure, looking at fundamental questions of building trust in these systems, data integrity, really, really important design questions and exciting ones to tackle. So, just to kind of bring us to a rounded conclusion, I think we're really excited to partner with you folks in really kind of designing this next economy that we're starting to see emerge. And I think, as always, driven by this desire through history for, more prosperity, a better form of abundance, but equally, facing some critical sort of threats to our survival. And unfortunately in this case man-made. But you know, that's I think what we're really excited to work with you guys on, is kind of building on, you know, the learnings from the past and what we know now today, and what we're starting to understand about how all these systems that we live with on the planet really do connect up. Thanks very much.